Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yo, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Aaron Williams.
What's wrong with the beer we got, Tim?
What's wrong with it? It drink pretty good, don't it?
Pretty good, don't it? That's right. Hey, welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are craft beer for we're radio for the local craft beer movement, and I'm Aaron Williams.
I'm Tim Dennis. On this episode, we've got a great show for you. We have Mr. Brian Roth over here joining us. Brian, well, thanks for joining us.
Cheers, thanks for having me.
From Athens, Georgia's Southern Brewing Company. They have just celebrated their very first anniversary. We'll talk about two new breweries in the event you don't want to miss. And we'll also cover our Whale of the Week.
That's right. We got a big one. So, you may have noticed, by the way, top of the show, very beginning, we changed our music up a little bit. I just want to rant a little bit about that because
what a
radio,
pain.
It's a pain because in radio we do have what's called a BMI ASCAP license, and we can use what I call regular
ASCAP?
music. ASCAP.
Okay.
You just said ASCAP. So we can use what we call regular music here on the radio on air. But if you post it to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, they will ding you for it. So we have made the executive decision to kind of transfer us from real music to what I call fake music that kind of sounds like real music. So hopefully the Facebook bots will not get us.
We've been kicked off Facebook and YouTube a few times just for the music we have in the background. And it's quick. Their bots are quick. Like as soon as it's done uploading, it's like your video's been removed. So
is it like the backtrack song, like when you do a karaoke for like a Black Crowes song?
Yeah, the algorithm will match it. Yeah,
exactly. So again, the beauty of being in radio is that I do have a very vast library of what we call DRM free or rights free music, and I've got plenty of that. So hopefully I can do the best we can.
And for those that didn't know, we tried to showcase local artists.
We did
on our show. So,
but Facebook messed us up. So thank you, Facebook.
Thanks, Facebook.
Thanks, Mark.
That's right.
Yes.
Thanks,
right.
Mark. I appreciate that. Yeah. In the studio, like we said, we've got Brian Roth from Southern Brewing Company in Athens, and of course Tyler Nelson from Green Flash and Alpine is with us today.
Green Flash / Alpine.
Yeah. Good West Coast stuff. We'll talk to them in just a second. But hey, you've got some good lists here on your what you had this week. So what you have to drink this week?
So I went last weekend to the Nest up in Kennesaw.
Nice.
Little time. That's a football day special. They did something called the longest yard, Aaron. And this was a yard of smoked sausage. They bring this thing out on a huge tray. So
it was.
Went up there with 4 friends. Took 5 of us to eat this thing. But while we were there, we enjoyed some delicious craft beers. So I tried Mexican Cupcake. Which you familiar with that beer?
I'm not. Is that a Westbrook?
It's a Westbrook. Yeah. So it's a session version of Mexican cake. So I went up there and tried that. Enjoyed that one. I tried Passionfruit Pinner, which I've mentioned before. I love passion fruit in these beers. Their IPAs are pretty bold. Pretty dank and
pale
bitter.
ales are bold.
Yeah, and it kind of killed off the passion fruit side of things. But nice. And Dry County Brewing.
Yeah,
opened this week. Went to a preview there. They opened up just this first weekend for tourists, and they are now Georgia's newest brewery there.
So congratulations to them. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what'd you do this week, Aaron?
I was in a stout mood this week. We mentioned last week, and of course on Facebook we posted that Summit's one of my local beer bars in Snellville having their 23rd anniversary. Brought up a ton of kegs out there. They've got a great list. So check out beerguysradio.com for that list. So first day of that on September 1st, I tried Bourbon County Stout, BCBS. They had they left that out from the previous distribution, so they were able to tap that. So that was
this year's, or was this a cellar version?
It was this year's, and I didn't get a chance to do it because I really don't like standing in long lines, I didn't partake.
It's a great beer. I mean, hard to argue with that.
I hate to say it, but it is absolutely delicious. So, and speaking of also delicious,
but I hear there's a brewery in Athens that's going to have a nice bourbon barrel stout.
I'm looking forward to that. We'll have to talk to somebody about that. But also to Dark True Stout out of Boulevard, one of my favorite stouts.
Nice,
I had that too. I really enjoyed that one. So pretty quiet for me. My wife has got me on a diet, so I have to really curtail my craft beer drinking.
Salads and grains.
It is the worst.
That's grains. Just have
grains. Exactly. This is my. I'm carb loading for today, so I'm happy about that. So that's what we had this week. How about you guys? You guys have anything of note to drink this week?
Give me. Come back to me in a second.
I'll do that. Okay.
Gotta think.
Tyler, how about you?
Yeah, actually, the way I drink. I was thinking the other day, or re-listening, I guess I should say, to the one y'all did with at Brickstore Pub with Ryan Skinner and Dave Blanchard, and Ryan and I definitely agree on a certain thing, and that's that one of the ways I like to drink a lot is and kind of beers I appreciate are super repeatable beers, that I find that you can't hide behind styles like
a really good Pilsner exactly.
or Oktoberfest, American, something like that. He was talking a lot about Bibo and stuff like that, so styles like that are the ones that a bourbon barrel aged stout or a hyper sour beer or something like that is going to be delicious pretty much regardless whatever you're doing. You can try to mess it up and it's still not going to get, it's still going to be tasty probably. But I had the Napoleon Complex from Wicked Weed.
Yep.
Holy cow.
That's great, isn't it? Yeah.
When was the last time you drank a pale ale and was like, that's an exciting beer?
Mm-hmm.
And it was. It was very, very good.
I had that on tap a couple months ago. I really love that one too.
You know what, for whatever it is about me, and I don't probably my disposition, but it takes an extra amount of excellence for me to give something praise that everybody else is praising anyway.
Right.
Like,
sure.
It doesn't.
You don't want to buy into the hype train too easily, right?
And everybody knows Wicked Weed is a phenomenal brewery. So when you drink a Wicked Weed, at least for me, it's like, well, I know this is going to be really good. But for me to come outright and say that beer is the thing that blew me away last week, that means it was even that much more beyond what I expected it to be. Exactly.
Great.
So.
Nice. So, hey, listen, I'm going to have to make a call here on Audible because we're going to have to go to headlines real quick because we're running out of time in this first segment. We got a special interview coming up. So
do it.
What's in the news? The beer guys have the scoop.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time for headlines. Sponsored by Your Pie Perimeter in the Perimeter Place Shopping Center across from Perimeter Mall.
And on the phone line with us right now is one of Alabama's newest breweries. It's Green Bus Brewing out of Huntsville. Jason Sled is with us today. So congratulations on the opening, Jason. Yeah, you've had a pretty busy couple of months, I guess, right?
We've had a busy year. We leased a 150-year-old building in downtown Huntsville that needed a complete renovation inside. We ripped everything out, including the floor structure and everything, and redid every bit of it, all the electrical, all the plumbing, and we did 95% of it ourselves. So it's been a long road to get here, but last Thursday we opened the doors and we're finally selling beer.
Can you tell us a little bit about the brewery? What size your brew house, how it's set up, your tasting room and such?
Yep, we've got a brew house upstairs. We got a 2-story building. Brew house is upstairs in the back. It's a 1.5 barrel. We're using 55-gallon stainless steel drums. We got 2 1.5 barrel fermenters and a 3-barrel fermenter, and a 1.5 barrel bright tank. Walk-in cooler is also upstairs, and then we pipe the beer down to the tap room from up there. So we were at least smart enough not to try and carry full kegs down the stairs.
That's probably a good thing. You have to hire some rugby players or something for your guys to work that down. So again, you said it's a very long process, a lot of sweat equity putting in this brewery. Tell us about the process. What are some of the things you learned by doing this?
We learned a lot about building codes. Our
okay.
building originally had 2 full floors, and we learned about building codes. We learned about fire codes and egress and all that kind of good stuff. We'd originally wanted to put the brewery on the first floor, but that would have created an industrial area out the back door, and we couldn't have customers going through there. So that's why the brewery ended up on the second floor, so we could have 2 exits and more people inside. We learned a lot also about just working through the TTB process, getting the TTB application filed, and then following that up with the Alabama's beverage control application, which all in all was not that difficult. That's just the beginning, though. Then you got to start filing the tax forms, and it is ridiculous.
You get to learn about all the stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with making beer, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And maybe not surprisingly, but there is a lot of it. And, the federal government wants to check every 2 weeks, so we got to stay on top of that.
Gotcha. So what are some of the beers that you're offering right now, Jason?
Let's see. We got 6 beers on tap right now. The most popular has turned out to be a tiramisu milk stout, chocolate coffee milk stout, followed by Irish red, and then we have a blonde ale coming in at third. Then after that, we have Mosaic Honey Wheat, a Hibiscus Pale Ale, and there's one more that's escaping me. I brewed it, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Too many to remember, right?
I was just going to say, you've been quite busy. I can totally understand that, yeah. Again, you kind of had a soft opening over Labor Day weekend. You're officially opening later in the month, correct?
Our official grand opening is October 1st. We're planning a big party and cutting the ribbon and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to be open Thursday through Sunday every weekend throughout the month of September, kind of figuring out what hours work best for us and everything. But most folks will be able to find our current hours on the Facebook page, but right now it's looking like Thursday through Sunday.
So Facebook's probably the best way to get a hold of you?
We got a contact number on there. I'm pretty good about answering messages during the day, and we try to keep that info up to date.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us today. Wish you best of luck, and we'll have to get over there and visit you soon.
We're looking forward to it.
Thanks, Jason.
Excellent. All right, that'll do it for the first segment of the Beer Guys radio show. And we are going to be back talking with Brian Roth of Southern Brewing Company out of Athens, and that's coming up next on Beer Guys Radio. BeerGuysRadio.com is our website. We'll be back right after this.
It's Aaron and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock is always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy. They have 12 of them. Bottles, too. Not sure what to drink? All of their beer servers are Cicerone certified. And if you got someone who isn't a beer fan, not to worry. Truck and Tap carries wine, mixed drinks, and even handcrafted sodas.
As for the truck part, well, that's when it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks daily. That way, you're getting a different menu every day.
Check it out. Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you.
Hey, it's Aaron. I want to give a quick shout out to our newest sponsor. It's HopSpot Beer Tours of Atlanta. Now, there's a lot of tours out there, but what makes HopSpot Beer Tours different? Well, you get exposure. There's more to Atlanta craft beer than just breweries. A HopSpot Beer Tour gives you the who, what, where, and when to craft beer right here in Atlanta and the state. Education. Whether you're a native, a transplant, or a visitor, you'll always learn something new. And connection. HopSpot connects you to guests, local breweries, and businesses to create those lasting relationships. We invite you to check out what makes HopSpot different. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter and Instagram at HopSpotATL, and of course, visit HopSpotBeerTours.com. Use promo code BeerGuys10 and receive 10% off your order. HopSpot Beer Tours. Hop on, get connected. That's HopSpotBeerTours.com.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, back to the Beer Guys radio show.
Well, I was told that I could listen to the radio at a reasonable volume.
All right, we're back at the Beer Guys radio studios, hanging out, having a good time.
Beautiful day in the ATL.
It is always a beautiful
day in the A.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And it's even more beautiful that we are here with Brian Roth, brewmaster, owner, chief bottle washer.
Brewer, janitor, all around.
Many
pretty
hats.
face, show model,
whatever
all that, right?
Whatever you need done that day.
Exactly. So, we're here with, he's the owner brewmaster of Southern Brewing, also with Tyler Nelson from Green Flash and Alpine, we should say, too. Mm-hmm. So we'll be talking with those guys first. But I see some beers.
You do?
There. I do. So let's go ahead and get into the Truck and Tap Beer of the Week.
It's the Truck and Tap Beer of the Week. Craft beer and food trucks in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com.
There's a lot of deliciousness in front of you,
Do you want to
Tim.
know what we've got for you over here?
I do, because I see some
Brian,
of it.
I'm just going to list the names of these, and then I'll let you tell about the one we're drinking. So I'm currently drinking War Pig. And our next beer of the week we have there from their Southern Woodpile series. We actually got 3 from the Southern Woodpile series. We have Piedmont Special, Strawberry Cecil, the Raspberry, and we have one that is not released just yet, the Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels, which is releasing 18th. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's the blended bottle, and then we have a single bottle that
that's a single barrel release, right? Okay.
That barrel was just beautiful, so we wanted to. Yeah,
Tim, sometimes our job is really awesome.
It is. Yeah. So those are our Truck and Tap beers of the week.
Sometimes or always?
I think usually always. Yes,
we don't want to gloat too much, so we're like sometimes,
Today's ending in Y.
Yes, exactly.
Still Brian, technically work somehow, right?
It's work. I mean, we get a call at that. So yeah. Brian, you want to tell us about War Pig that we're drinking right now?
Yeah, War Pig was a beer that I put together when I left the distribution side. For a guy that helped teach me a lot. He was a good friend of mine, owned the distributor I was at. And our first beer trip together was to the West Coast. We took a road trip from San Francisco in a car all the way up to Portland, Oregon, and hit every brewery that we possibly could on the way up. And fell in love with like a really good dry kind of West Coast style. A lot of forward citrus notes. So I did that kind of as a, hey, thanks for everything that we did together and everything I learned. And then I told him that once we got things settled down at the brewery and I got good hops contracts, we'd bring that beer out. So that's the first beer in our Athens IPA series, which is an IPA series that every 3 months will rotate into a new double IPA. The next one's going to be a true New Zealand IPA called Maui. And then we're going to do a true Northeastern IPA, not the new Northeastern IPAs that are kind of blowing up everything right now. We'll do that later. This will be kind of a traditional.
So what is a traditional Northeastern IPA?
Kind of where IPAs were originally before that was going on and getting everyone excited, like pre-heady topper kind of days.
So less of a juice bomb and
exactly,
more of something that's
not cloudy,
more,
not hazy.
So now we've got
pine, more a little more English almost.
So we've got West Coast, pine. East Coast, Northeast traditional, Northeast nouveau.
Yep.
So
I'm
English.
confused already. I just want to drink more beer.
And then we're going to do a barrel-aged, true, original English IPA. We're going to age it for the amount of time that it would have taken to get
to
all the way to India.
Make the trip,
and then we're going to re-dry hop it post so you can kind of get that flavor.
That's cool.
I'm trying to work with a brewery overseas where we can actually put barrels onto a boat so they go through the same rocking station, just so we can make it as ridiculous as possible.
You should just buy a boat, take the trip yourself. Wouldn't that be a nice adventure there?
My problem is I would take that boat ride, just have a straw in the barrel. It'd be gone by the time we got
there.
there.
We had 6 barrels. We made it back with one 22-ounce bottle.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, so now you guys, Brian, I mean, you guys have made some amazing strides in just a year. You just celebrated your year anniversary a couple weeks ago. What do you take credit for that? I mean, you guys have really grown over the past year.
Yeah, we we kind of kept our head down, and we've been real quiet, just kind of plugging away. We've been working on our barrel aging program, so we're up to about 165 barrels worth of beer and wood, plus a 60-barrel foeder, which we're on our second turn-in. So we're doing a lot of wild yeast catching. We're up to 72 local wild yeasts caught around the Athens area. Those are all being stored in Athens, between Athens Tech and the University of Georgia. And then we're also doing a lot of collaborative stuff with those different science groups. We have the UGA chemistry department running mass spec data on all of our beers. So we're learning a lot. But we kind of wanted to spend the first 3 years of our existence doing just that, like securing barrels, really figuring out what a good house culture was going to be, and then using that to kind of blend back in. And I'm a big lambic Belgian sour guy, but you can't open a brewery and start putting those beers in the market the first day. So it takes a good 3 years. We're real happy with what's coming out right now. We're super excited about our schedule for next year, which we just started kind of honing down. But everything's tasting fantastic. So most of the stuff we've got in barrel stock is about a year to a year and 3 months old, which is nice.
Now, Brian, so talk about what you've done in just a year. So to kind of take a step back from that, you mentioned just briefly earlier, you were in distribution prior to this. I think you worked with Leon Farmer, correct?
I did. They were the local AB distributor out of Athens, Georgia.
Yeah. So how did you make the jump? What got you into opening a brewery?
So I started brewing back in 1993 in Athens, Georgia, with a guy that was the draft specialist for Leon Farmer Company. So he's a guy that went out and fixed all the draft lines, really knew the nuts and bolts of beer systems, and cobbled together this fantastic, like, homespun home brewery in his house on Nantahala Street in Athens, Georgia. I would go over there and clean bottles and do all the grunt work, and then he'd give me a six-pack or two at the end. And both of us thought that we were kind of going against the grain and was something that wouldn't have been looked upon favorably. So we kind of were underground in the beginning for a good bit. When he moved, I had to get my own system, and that kind of got me going. Eventually, by doing some lobbying work, I met the guy who I'm business partners with, Rick Goddard. He was the head lobbyist for the beer industry, so he knew everybody. And I was, at that point, in charge of bringing craft beer into Georgia. So I was really working on trying to bring fantastic beers into Georgia, and he knew everybody. So if I wanted to talk to Deschutes, he would say, well, you need to talk to Gary Fish. And so then we would fly out there and start talking to folks and try and woo those people into coming into Georgia. Eventually, he came up with the idea of, if I craft brewed and love beer so much, that we should probably work on trying to get a brewery open. So he finally taught me into it.
Great. Yeah, now, Athens has been really a nice destination for craft beer lovers. I mean, of course, you've got Terrapin, Creature Comforts, and you guys. What do you credit to that? And of course, it's a college town, but I mean, there's got to be something more to that, right?
RAM. That's all you credit.
That's right.
All those shiny, happy people.
Widespread panic. I got to give Terrapin all the credit early on. They did so much laying the groundwork, going out there, kind of doing a lot of hard work in the streets, converting a college town, which tends to be a very light macro lager town.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of natural light, a lot of...
And I don't want to spend too much money on anything.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a whole lot of money.
$5 beer bus kind of place, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I used to high-five Dustin Watts when I would see kids... not kids, people over 21, but I would see people over 21.
Yes. They're kids. Yeah, they're kids. Yeah.
I'm an old guy. So, but when I would see those folks that were in college, buying a 6-pack of Terrapin and a 36-pack of something else, and knowing that they were going to drink Terrapin first, I thought, this is amazing. Like, you guys are doing a good job.
That was always my rule, when I was in college, when I worked at a microbrewery or a brew pub, and, whenever we went to go party, I'd always have a 6-pack of Sam Adams because that was the easiest thing way back a long time ago when I was, in the 90s. But then I'd also have a case of Peels, which is horrible, awful,
I remember
terrible beer. Yeah. So you start off with the Sam Adams, then you finish off with the Peels, and that's a good night.
Yeah. It's a good time. So, but I got to give credit to you had folks. I mean, Owen Ogletree's still in Athens.
Oh yeah,
been doing the Classic City Brew Fest for forever.
And he works hard hard at that.
It's so amazing. And then you got Sachin Patel over at 5 Points Bottle Shop, who brought in probably some of the most amazing beers on the planet and got those local,
completely legally.
5 Points is one of my favorite shops in the state.
Place.
It's such a great shop. If you haven't been over there,
fantastic.
Just such amazing stuff. We just saw Craig Torres a few minutes ago, and Craig has another very fine shop in Georgia. We've got some good stuff here.
Yeah, we could go. I mean,
it's two in Atlanta and one in Birmingham.
Yes,
and that's right.
Yeah. So, but that's kind of the neat part about being in the industry. Once you're in that network and you're starting to go around, and Georgia's blowing up, and they work so hard to change the beer law so that you could go over 6%, and then all these beers start flooding in. And I just happened to serendipitously be in a really awesome job where someone said, hey, this is becoming a thing. You want to go around the country and, try and figure this out and bring these breweries in. So it was a nice experience.
Awesome. Brian, we're going to talk to you some more. We need to take a quick break here. So you're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Check us out on beerguysradio.com. We will be right back. It's Aaron and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock is always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy. They have 12 of them. Bottles, too. Not sure what to drink? All of their beer servers are Cicerone certified. And if you got someone who isn't a beer fan, not to worry. Truck and Tap carries wine, mixed drinks, and even handcrafted sodas.
As for the truck part, well, that's when it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks daily. That way, you're getting a different menu every day.
Check it out. Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you.
Mark your calendars for Saturday, October 8th and Sunday, October 9th for some cool street art and cold craft beer. That's right, it's time for Chalktoberfest. Head to historic Marietta Square and join 30,000 people, 80 artists, and sample 125 different craft beers from local brewers. VIP access is also available. You won't want to miss this amazing arts festival paired with some delicious local craft beer. That's Chalktoberfest, October 8th and 9th on historic Marietta Square. Details and tickets at chalktoberfest.com, and we'll see you there.
Hey, this is Aaron. I want to thank you so much for listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We've got some really awesome things that are coming soon that will help us engage with you some more. We're not going to lie to you, though. It takes time, effort, and money to produce this show every week. So if you'd like to be part of the Beer Guys family, we would love your help. Head to patreon.com/beerguys to become a sponsor. We're not going to beg. Okay, maybe just a little bit. But hey, we've got some great swag for those who become a sponsor, and you'll be among the first to know about the great things that are coming to the Beer Guys universe. Again, that's patreon.com, patreon.com/beerguys, or you can go to beerguysradio.com and click the sponsor link. We thank you for your supports, and cheers.
Ahoy there, mateys! Hunting whales? We've got you covered with Tim's Whale of the Week.
Yar, what do you have there for us, Tim?
So I got a couple of whales for us here that you need to keep an eye out for. So, new brewery, hitting Georgia. I've seen them on tap lists. I know that they are being tapped today at some places. Burial Beer Company.
Oh, yeah.
Out of Asheville, North Carolina. So I was just up there a couple weeks ago. That's me and our production assistant Becky and a couple other friends went up there. We hit Burial, Wicked Weed, Funkatorium, and some other places, and tried one I remember there is Griddle, which is their skillet donut scout with espresso.
Yeah,
and that's fantastic. Good stuff.
They make some really awesome beer.
Yeah, very good stuff from those guys. Absolutely. One of my favorites up there. Another one that's hitting the market now. I've seen a few pop up, and we're going to see more on draft and also bottles. I'm not sure if this is Whaley, but it's one a lot of people are looking for.
Yeah.
Is a collaboration beer between Wicked Weed and Creature Comforts. Aaron, you want to throw a guess out there what that one is?
I want to call it Juiceless.
That's the one, man. So it's out there. I had that at the brewery. You grabbed a few bottles there. It's delicious.
Yeah,
it's a very good beer.
You were kind enough to give me one of those bottles, and it's fantastic. I call it Tropicali on steroids. I think it's really good.
So keep an eye out. So those are the ones you want to look for this week.
Definitely. Well, that's good to know. So, beer releases, by the way, you've got some information on beerguysradio.com, so check out for that.
That's right. We'll give you the full list there, Aaron.
The full list, the full scoop, and all that good stuff. We'll have more details coming on later on in the show, but right now, we are in the studio right now with Brian Roth, brewmaster/owner/chief bottle washer at Southern Brewing Company.
That's the better title.
That is a better title, and he is
anything that needs to be done.
Wash right, that's right.
His business cards, you should see the things are huge.
It's 8 pages
they're waterproof.
long.
Yeah, that's
right.
Waterproof plastic.
Yeah, and of course we've also got Tyler Nelson from Green Flash, and also from
Alpine.
Alpine. There we go.
Well, what a serendipitous name, Nelson.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know it's great, and trust me, I tell everybody that beer was named after me.
Tyler Alpine Nelson, right?
That's right. That's
you know, back in my younger days, Alpine was my car stereo of choice.
Oh yeah,
that too.
So,
yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
My first system was an Alpine head unit with some 12-inch Rockford Fosgate in the trunk and some punch amps pushing it. So,
I just had this little unit I plugged into my iPod.
Yeah,
iPod. We didn't have those back in my day. We didn't have those.
Yes, to quote Sir Mix-a-Lot, the Alpine's bumping.
I had a turntable in my car there, so yeah.
Anyway, enough of the retro
digression.
80s and 90s digression. Exactly. Hey, we are drinking on an absolutely wonderful beer from Southern, and I'm so excited that you brought this, Brian. Tell us a little bit about what we're doing right now.
Cheers, thanks. Yeah, it was a beer that it was a collaboration I was doing with Ethan Protoss, who's trying to get a brewery open in Asheville, North Carolina eventually. I ran into that fella, Burnt Hickory. I love the Burnt Hickory fellas, so when I would get frustrated while I was trying to get my brewery open, I would pop around to local breweries and hang out. And I would go up and help. So I would go help Will and those guys periodically or just bring beer and talk. Met Ethan there. He came down with me. This is a beer that we were pushing towards kind of a Flanders Red and weren't overly happy with where it was at. Put it into some barrels, aged it a little bit longer, and then we got 90 pounds of local strawberries from the Williams Farm, which is a really cool place in Athens if you look it up on the web. Packed it full of strawberries, let it sit for another 2-3 months, pulled it out, and fell in love with it. So there's not a lot of it. And Cecil happens to be the name of the dirt that we all stand on in Georgia. So
okay,
is it?
I've never heard that.
Yeah,
I'm getting educational here, man.
Yeah,
I've lived in Georgia my entire life, and I've never heard that.
It starts from Virginia and it goes down to Alabama. So anytime you see red dirt in the South, the name of that dirt's Cecil.
Interesting.
So
I just thought it was red clay.
We thought if anything's red, we're just going to name it Cecil.
You know, speaking of the Burnt Hickory folks, Greg Nisnik just joined us on our Facebook feed.
Amazing.
He does the sour program there for those guys. So.
Greg, yeah, we've been trading some stuff back and forth. Greg stopped by a while back when he was in town. He's a awesome human being and doing some fantastic stuff for them.
You know, about 2 years ago, probably 2 years ago, I was at a bottle share with Nizzy, and he brought a 6-pack of bottles that had been handwritten on in that were your prototype, some of your homebrew batches that he brought over there. So that's
good.
The coolest thing that I saw Nizzy do is that he made a keezer out of old orange amp boxes. Have you seen those?
All of his amp stuff.
Those are so cool.
I want to have him come in and make really cool amps for our PA system for our live stage.
For those who don't know what we're talking about, Greg Nisnik with Burnt Hickory does their sour program. He also does Nizzy amps, which he takes very interesting stuff and turns them into amplifiers. Plug in your guitar, your iPod. You know about those, right?
So turn your
iPods are actually out of date. Like it's all just on your iPhone.
You got to stream it. I'm a Spotify man. I Spotify everything. So yeah,
maybe a little tiny one, like a little single guitar.
But this is fantastic. This one now definitely not Flanders. Definitely not Flanders.
It's not sour enough.
Much lighter.
The fruit is awesome.
The fruit is fantastic. It's complex. There's a lot of life in this. There's a lot going on in the background. The funk, the character, all of this stuff. This I love these kind of beers.
And I appreciate that. And that's what, I mean, it's kind of where we're going for. Like, we want to be authentic. We don't want to push the boundaries and then tell people something that it's not. So when something doesn't work out, if it's still awesome, we're going to release it. But we're going to have that conversation and say, this is what we were going for. And and this is the path that we took it down. But yeah, really one of the staff favorites. So we have to bury that. We only have
hide it to the back.
That's amazing.
Oh no.
Yeah. Now, cool. One of the cool things, Brian, that I'm doing some research about you and your company is that you really try to keep things as local as possible.
We do.
That yeast program that you're doing, I mean, you're getting yeast just from right around that area. Yeah. Tell us about the importance of that and keeping it local.
So everything that comes in the brewery, we're like leaf cutter ants. We pull it apart. We build everything. So our bar was built out of the beams that the steel shipped onto the brewery. All of our pallets get turned into tap handles. We make all of our tap handles. So anytime you see one in the market, everyone's different. They're all local wood. And then everything we do at the brewery, if we can't find something in Athens, then we start going to surrounding counties. But we try to do everything in Georgia as much as possible. Our wine barrels come from Frogtown Cellars up in Blue Ridge.
They're a great winery, too.
They're fantastic and awesome folks. So, we don't want to just go around and talk this kind of local talk. Things kind of get hyper local.
Yeah.
We want to be good hosts locally. So we have 6 different farms we're working with. We bring those guys in. So our program, and we didn't have it bottled yet. But we have this beautiful tart cucumber saison that we worked with. Finch Creek Farms out of Winder. We've got the Williams Farm and a handful of other farms. We have Lawson Family Farms for our blueberries. So there's just this cool, cohesive collaboration.
But I mean, really, when you're down here in the South, when you're here in Georgia, there's so much agriculture down here. You'd be crazy not to take advantage of that. Yeah.
I mean, Red Mule Grits is right next door to us, so we're looking at doing some stuff with those guys on down the road. And it's neat. It's these really cool projects. They kind of push us a little bit. We bring them in, but what we don't want to do is just say, "Hey, can we talk to you and just use you guys?"
Yeah.
We bring them in. They help us brew batches of beer. They help us kind of figure out the overall thing. So instead of going around and doing collaborations with other breweries around the country, I'd rather work with local farmers or local restaurants. So we do a lot of stuff with local restaurants, whether it's Brickstore or Local Republic or Catch 22 or Trapeze out of Athens or Heirloom or Hilo. So we'll bring those guys in, brew small batches of beer. It's a great education piece, and then it also gives us a chance to put something cool on tap that people wouldn't otherwise try. And it might even be something that we wouldn't have thought of, which is kind of nice. And a lot of great cooks in Georgia.
Well, you just said one of my favorites, a Local Republic in Lawrenceville. I'm a Gwinnett resident, and that's one of the places that
it's a great little restaurant.
It is. It's
great.
Fantastic.
Awesome. So we have a really cool series we're about to release with them. We took an IPA and put 6 different yeasts on it. So same batch of beer, same hops, same dry hops, 6 completely different yeasts, and that beer drinks different in every single bottle.
I know where I'm going then. Well, they're expanding and they're getting a brand new place.
We've done that with our homebrew club on a smaller scale, just a two split, and we did an English SO4 and SO5, which standard American and English yeast, and you get a different beer. It's amazing. 3 Taverns Night on Ponce is a good example of that because
that's such a phenomenal example of how yeast can affect the beer.
Absolutely,
such
and it was an experiment that just took off for those guys. So really, something.
They have a night on Ponce, they have a night on Brussels.
They're all completely different beers almost.
Amazingly totally different.
But the only difference being the yeast that they use there. So,
want to throw Tyler a bone? I kind of learned that. I met Chris White out at White Labs in San Diego at the Brewers Conference. They just built their tap room out, so they have at any given time 38 different yeasts on the exact same beer. So as a home brewer, you walk in there and it's just
White Labs is like just a few miles from Green Flash.
It's right down the road from Green Flash. So we always go hang out at Green Flash, and then we go hang out with Chris at White Labs. And, of course, we use White Labs exclusively for our commercial stuff when we're not using wild yeast.
Awesome. Brian, we're going to take another quick break. I feel like we could do a couple shows here just talking this stuff, man. We're talking to Brian Roth of Athens, Georgia's Southern Brewing Company. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Beer Guys Radio. We'll be right back.
I'm Steve Anderson, head brewer at Red Brick Brewing Company, and you're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
The Beer Guys are back right after this.
Hey, it's Aaron. I want to give a quick shout out to our newest sponsor. It's HopSpot Beer Tours of Atlanta. Now, there's a lot of tours out there, but what makes HopSpot Beer Tours different? Well, you get exposure. There's more to Atlanta craft beer than just breweries. A HopSpot Beer Tour gives you the who, what, where, and when to craft beer right here in Atlanta and the state. Education. Whether you're a native, a transplant, or a visitor, you'll always learn something new. And connection. HopSpot connects you to guests, local breweries, and businesses to create those lasting relationships. We invite you to check out what makes HopSpot different. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter and Instagram at HopSpotATL, and of course, visit HopSpotBeerTours.com. Use promo code BeerGuys10 and receive 10% off your order. HopSpot Beer Tours. Hop on, get connected. That's HopSpotBeerTours.com. Hey, it's Aaron, and you're a fan of craft beer, right? And you want to know more about what's going on in the craft beer scene in Georgia? Thanks to the hard work from my co-host Tim, we are giving you the lowdown on the craft beer scene every week right in your inbox. Go to BeerGuysRadio.com and sign up for This Week in Georgia Beer right at the top. We won't spam you, promise, or sell your name. Just good beer info every week. Plus, you can win great prizes from us. This Week in Georgia Beer, sign up today. BeerGuysRadio.com.
Mark your calendars for Saturday, October 8th and Sunday, October 9th for some cool street art and cold craft beer. That's right, it's time for Chalktoberfest. Head to historic Marietta Square and join 30,000 people, 80 artists, and sample 125 different craft beers from local brewers. VIP access is also available. You won't want to miss this amazing arts festival paired with some delicious local craft beer. That's Chalktoberfest, October 8th and 9th on historic Marietta Square. Details and tickets at chalktoberfest.com, and we'll see you there.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Want some advice? Well, yeah. Well, here's all you need to know. Class is nothing before 11. Beer, it's your best friend. You drink a lot of it. Women, you're a freshman, so it's pretty much out of the question.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
And it's the Beer Guys Radio Show. Last segment, we are getting funky with Southern Brewing Company and really enjoying things. Excellent. Fourth segment's always kind of tough for us, especially when we've...
For you.
For me, because
you're a
lush,
Aaron.
Exactly.
I say that right as we're getting ready to break into a couple of Imperial stouts.
Yeah, those 13% are going to get me every time. So we're here with Brian Roth from Southern Brewing Company. We just cracked open a beer. What did we get here?
We opened the Piedmont Special.
Yeah,
why don't you tell us about that one, Brian?
So we started a Woodpile Society, so it's kind of our secret barrel society. We've got 10 bottles we're releasing through that society, and this was the first release. It's actually just come out last weekend. It's our porter aged in red wine barrels from Frogtown Cellars for a pretty long period of time, and then we threw raspberries on top of that, aged it again, and we're really happy with the results. You know, there are a few things that we'd kind of tweak in it.
It should be. It's delicious.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we thought it was a good way to kind of lead with that program. And I've been in a lot of programs and talked to a lot of people in programs, and we wanted to take all the awesomeness from all these other systems and things that are established and kind of bring it to Georgia. And that's kind of our theme overall is I want to take all these beers I tried in Europe and around America because I was lucky enough to travel and let you have them. Like, you know, you don't often get to drink a fantastic Kolsch unless you go to Cologne, Germany. You don't often get to drink a really good, fresh West Coast IPA.
Unless you go to Green Flash in San Diego.
Which I spent a lot of time at. So, and I love Green Flash. It's one of my favorite breweries. But I wanted people to get that. Like, I just got off the plane. This literally came out of the bright tank. It's the freshest IPA I've ever had in my life. And that's amazing. That's an amazing experience. So we want to bring that to kind of people in the tap room.
When you were telling us about this beer a little earlier, I missed the wine barrel. Yeah. So I was expecting a porter with raspberries. I'm like, okay, something's off in this.
You definitely taste oak in there, though.
Yeah,
there's a touch, the wininess, the red wine. This is nice.
We had a nice little red winey quality in there, and a good little acidity developing into that beer. So that's where we're really dialing in that house culture. We're doing a lot of blending, and we're doing a lot of genetics testing on other people's yeast. So we don't make any bones about it. If we love your yeast, we propagate it back up again. We run genetics on it. We kind of see what you're doing. So we have a lot of breweries that we've fallen in love with, like Side Project and Fontaflora and other folks. And we kind of take a look under their hood. Allagash is one of my favorite breweries on the planet. They do fantastic stuff. And we look at their yeast, and then we, propagate it back up. We blend it with other cultures. We see if we can push things in different directions.
Now, when you say look at, you're saying you're getting some of their yeast.
Yeah.
And
we do
literally taking a look at it, putting it under a microscope, seeing.
And run genetics on it. Like I send it to a genetics lab, and they tell me this is the exact yeast.
This is some serious beer geek beer we're drinking here.
If I may, my personal, one of my favorite story, I mean, I've known Brian for a few years now and stuff, but I've been to Southern Brewing Company one time, and the most impressive thing about their brewery is you can go to breweries probably 5-10 times their size and not find a lab as big as the one at Southern Brewing Company.
Thank you.
And it's such a point of pride for y'all that it's just so. Not enough breweries are doing that, in my opinion. Are focusing on the lab element of and cultures,
especially the younger ones, like them being because you had the lab from the get go, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, we had a lab at the.
It's the focal point of their brewery. Almost.
Yes,
I mean, like I don't mean to speak for you, Brian, but like that's.
Yeah, but I appreciate it. No, that's a good point. And what I did was I went around the country and I started noticing, this brewery has a lab and their beer is fantastic. And then I would start talking to those guys, and they were running taste panels and doing all kinds of other stuff. And it was kind of a mature way to look at that brewing process.
Yeah. And it all goes back to what you want to do was local. I mean, you could just get that yeast right there, go to the lab, cultivate it, see what's going on, and go
we just
from
got
stuff
wild.
that's right there.
So we off our second runnings on our pumpkin beer, which we got our pumpkin beers out of our pumpkins from Elijah from Burke's Farm. So we took 3 giant pumpkins, put them in our batch today, and then we caught lacto and PDO off the skins. We put those into the second runnings. We're going to release a kind of a farmhouse session saison called Le Petit Grand Bumpkin, which will be amazing.
Great name, too, man.
Yeah,
so absolutely.
And we just came up, we were like, hey, we got enough work that we can run this really fantastic side beer. So that'll be kind of our side project for this month. We'll re-release it. We fermented in pumpkins last year, and we've got probably 10 gallons on 7 different Brett strains from last year's.
So I remember you telling me that you actually fermented the beer inside of the pumpkin.
So tomorrow we're going to ferment in the pumpkin. So we're going to push that back over, which will be
how awesome is that?
Crazy stuff.
That's my good idea of the great pumpkin Charlie Brown. That's perfect.
The better pumpkin Charlie Brown.
Yeah,
the better. Yeah. So Brian, you and I have talked. We talked some about our homebrew club, kind of capturing some yeast and different things, and just that. So you're not. I mean, your keep it local collaboration, all that doesn't just extend to other breweries or other farmers, other businesses. You've had several home brewers come in and brew batches with you.
Yeah, we
have
an open door policy. So we have a cool program called Brew Libre Luchador where anyone can come in and brew on our pilot system. We put those beers together in a head-to-head match, like an old WWE fight. And then it's 2 groups of 8. The winner of both of those fights compete to be the overall brew champion. You can be professional, not professional. You can walk in and just say, I like IPAs, and we'll help you put together one. We don't build the recipe without your consent. So we say, well, what do you like? Grapefruit, tangerine? Like, what's your overall thing?
Well, I tell you, that's a great resource for someone who maybe is a college student at UGA or Athens Tech that would like to get into that information, that you could go ahead and kind of work with a professional brewer to go ahead and get in that business.
Well, a lot of other small brewers. So we've got Big Creek, we've got Good Word, who's those guys are doing some fantastic stuff. So we have a lot of those guys coming in and brewing small batches.
And these are both breweries that are in the planning stages in Georgia. That they're getting they're doing collaboration batches with breweries like you and kind of getting their name out and stuff.
To travel the country and get people to talk to me and give me all their information. It's such a great. It's crazy. Like you can't name another industry that's anything like it.
No, it's very unique in that way.
So I want to bring that same thing. So if you walk in and you're serious about doing a brewery, then we're serious about trying to give you as much information as we can.
Awesome stuff.
That's awesome. Brian Roth, thank you so much for joining us
today.
Thank
you guys so much. Thank you for what you guys do for the whole industry.
We appreciate it, man.
We love it.
You know what? Just as long as you guys keep bringing good beer to us, we'll keep doing it.
I'll keep you in case of the beer as long as we're talking about it.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Hey, Tim, we got a giveaway to give away.
We do have a giveaway to give away, and our winner this week, Aaron, is Tommy Warren.
Nice.
Tommy, congratulations. Drop us an email to beerguys@beerguysradio.com, and we'll send you out a swag pack. We'll send you some goodies. So just drop us a line. So I got a little story about this week's giveaway.
Okay.
So I use a random number generator to choose the number on our list there, and the random number this week was 666. So
they're trying
Tommy,
to tell us something. I think
that was your number on our list this week. You're the winner. So claim up. I'm a little scared to send you the package, but I hope you enjoy it.
Exactly.
So,
It'll be the mark on there. So anyway, hey, got a couple more minutes left. Let's go ahead and check out the hot list.
Time for the Hot List. The beer guys have the scoop on what you need to know for next week.
That's hot.
Hey, we got some more time here on the show, so what's going on here, Tim?
So we've got this week in Georgia. We have today, you still got a little time to make a couple good events. We have the Porter's 8th anniversary. You're going to be a little late if you're getting there now. They started this when doors open there.
I hate when
people lined up before, so but go over there. I'm sure they'll still have some good stuff on. They always have some good stuff on there.
There you go.
Alpharetta, Jekyll celebrating their anniversary party.
Excellent.
And there is a chicken picking at Wild Heaven.
Alrighty.
So check it out. Next Friday, we've got the Beeriotic Table Lecture at the Telus Science Museum way up in Cartersville, and that's with Reformation Brewery.
Okay.
So check that out. Next Saturday, we have Oktoberfest at Torch Top and Scofflaw's official brewery opening here.
They've been kind of teasing it for about a month or so, and now they're finally open. That's good.
Yeah, so good stuff there. So stay tuned for more information on that. And next Sunday, Southern Brewing Company releases their single barrel bourbon barrel stout.
That
right?
sounds like a plan to me.
So check that out. So that's the next week's events hot list here in Georgia.
Yeah, here in Alabama, or over in Alabama, we've got some awesome things going on, too. Of course, we've been talking about Green Bus Brewing. You talked to them earlier in the show. They've got a soft open, so they're off and on all week. You may want to check in with them to see if they're open or actually closed. So, again, check in with them. They're not the only brewery that's currently opening in Alabama. Red Hills, Saturday at 5 p.m., so today at 5 p.m., they're opening, and that's just in the suburb of Birmingham. So if you're in that area, they've got a grand opening there. So congratulations, not one but two breweries in Alabama that is opening. And then they've also got in Huntsville, 1-year anniversary of Liquor Express. That's going to go on all week long. They've got giveaways. They've got stuff going on, some cool things going there.
I've had several people tell me we should check that out. That Liquor Express is impressive.
Yeah, I've heard that's
one of the
great
coolest
place.
One of the coolest stores in the Southeast.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations again to Liquor Express in Huntsville. Go check them out. They got stuff going on all week long. And finally, 3rd beer anniversary for Rocket Republic. So they brewed their beer birthday 3 years ago today, and that's going on all day today, Saturday, and into Sunday as well. So lots of anniversaries going on, lots of cool stuff, and that is always good. Now, Tim, you've talked about the Georgia Beer events and those types of things. If someone wants to maybe get into that action, what should they do?
Let me tell you what they should do, Aaron. They should go to beerguysradio.com and sign up for This Week in Georgia Beer. Every Friday morning, we'll send you an email that'll give you this week's events, some tidbits of news. We'll let you know the bottle releases coming up for the week. So we're going to let you know everything that's going on throughout the week in Georgia Beer, and you'll be entered to win a swag pack that we give away each week.
That sounds like a plan, and we are going to go ahead and take a break. It is time for, us to end the show.
This is the end of it, man. We're done.
That is exactly it. So
we're going to go ahead and end it. We going for a 5th segment, Aaron?
Now, we'll do that a bit later on. BeerGuysRadio.com will be our website. Go check that out. We've got Wild Heaven and Cigar City next week.
Right.
That's going to be a fun one.
Collaboration happening, man.
Absolutely.
And we'll be there.
Enjoy that, and always drink local. We're the Beer Guys Radio Show. We'll see you next week.